What's going on, everybody? Trev Wilson here. Welcome back to the Bourbon Wrench for the first review of 2024, and it's a celebrity whiskey. Man, the celebrity whiskeys have been coming out full force. Everyone is dabbling their little rich toes into the whiskey world. Today, we have Chris Stapleton dropping a whiskey called Traveler Whiskey Blend Number 40 in collaboration with Buffalo Trace and Harlan Wheatley and the heck. Now, I have a lot to say and we have a lot to unpack with this bottle, and then we're gonna taste it and smell it and tell you what exactly you are blowing your money on. So, this is Traveler Whiskey Blended Whiskey, okay? Blended whiskey. You gotta set your expectations up right up front. Blended whiskey, 90 proof, very light color. That'll make sense here in a bit. Let's read the back, because there's a lot of very choice words, a lot of choice information that we need to unpack. So, good whiskey is like a good song. It requires no explanation. One taste should tell you everything you need to know. No one has to tell you how to feel about it. You simply settle in and enjoy. For this first of its kind collaboration from Buffalo Trace Distillery, Traveler brings together the collective artistry of Chris Stapleton and Master Distiller Harlan Wheatley. Blend number 40 is the carefully curated result of countless hours of testing and tasting. It's a completely unique combination of whiskeys from award-winning distilleries and exactly what you would expect. Which is what? A premium whiskey that speaks for itself. Signed, Harlan Wheatley and Chris Stapleton, proudly blended and bottled by Buffalo Trace Distillery. Now, first and foremost, we gotta say, nowhere on this does it say where it came from. All they wanted you to know is that Chris Stapleton and Harlan Wheatley spent countless hours blending this masterpiece. So I did a little digging and some minimal research on the internet because I wanted to know where the heck this came from. And turns out, according to some sales rep that I found somewhere, was that this is primarily Canadian whiskey, which they didn't say from where. If it's an award-winning distillery, I don't know. Somebody in the Sazerac line. And bourbon from Barton. So nothing in this is Buffalo Trace at all. And then I got to thinking, well, what's up with all of this Buffalo Trace, Harlan Wheatley talk? You gotta think, people. This is a marketing ploy. You know, Chris Stapleton's like, hey, my fans are gonna see my name. I'm a rock star. I know good whiskey. They're just gonna buy it. But then what about the whiskey people? What do they know is good? Buffalo Trace. Now, how do we get Buffalo Trace all over our bottle if we don't use any of their whiskey? Got it. Harlan freaking Wheatley. Let's have him throw the juice together and we can put Buffalo Trace on it. I see what they did there, okay? You just gotta know that going in. This isn't Buffalo Trace, okay? This is Harlan Wheatley blending whiskeys together so we can have his name on it. Now, let's get into the most important part, the smell, the taste, and if it's worth the price. I will say, for a celebrity-endorsed whiskey, I would say double celebrity, because you got Chris Stapleton and we got Buffalo Trace kind of all in one thing. So, that being said, $40 is the retail price of this. I don't know the reach of it. Sazerac is behind all of this, so they have a massive reach. Maybe it'll go out to the masses more. I do know when this dropped, mass pandemonium. You know what I'm saying? It's like people got to get that Buffalo Trace. And on the nose, very Canadian. I mean, it's like, let me put it this way. when I smell something, I'm thinking lower your expectations of Canadian. This isn't, I don't think this is high-end Canadian whiskey. I think this is more of their budget-friendly Canadian stuff, where it's just very, to me, it's like caramel and acetone, okay? It's like neutral grain spirit that is almost artificially flavored. That's what I get on some of that. And I'm definitely getting some of that. I mean, that's just the way I put it, is it's fake. It's like a fake caramel smell, which it might not, I'm not saying it is, but that's the way it comes off. I will say there is a little bit of oak. So I can tell they did blend some bourbon into there, and I feel like that's really all you're getting from it, is some of the barrely notes of bourbon, but a lot of the caramely, acetone-y, neutral grainy Canadian. So let's taste it. It's is it the worst thing I've ever had? No. Is it the... I'm like, I just don't even really know what to say. Let's just break it down. What am I getting? What I like about it and what I dislike about it. What I'm getting is up front is like just straight up, you know, if any of you love Canadian Club, I'm sorry, but right up front, Canadian Club. This is some sort of vodka. Like, it has that clearness. Does that even make sense? Clearness? Like, when you drink vodka, gin, I can tell that it's not a brown spirit. It's just like this clean, this just like we killed it in the still and then put it in the bottle. You know what I'm saying? It has that cleanness, just medicinal, like we're turning this into hand sanitizer. The back of the palate is where some of that I'm attributing to whatever they blended in, the bourbon wise. I'm getting a little bit of the oak. I mean, it's really hard to find. Like, it's so light, just like so light on the palate. It's hard to really get much more than neutral grain, caramely, vanilla-y-ish, just a little bit, and then a little bit of oakiness on the back, and then it goes down like water. So it's hard to find. Doing that, I swish it around a little bit to really piss my mouth off. And I'm getting grain, maybe a little more of like a cereal. I'm attributing that to just the base grains that were used in that. Maybe a little bit of the bourbon barrel, but it's so light, you're not getting any dark char, heavy notes. Man, I don't know. I really don't. It's like it's not bad, okay? It's not like I'm drinking something that's disgusting, but like that shouldn't be the way something is explained. Like, oh yeah, it just doesn't freaking suck. I really just don't know else how to put it. I mean, I don't want to drink that. I don't want to pour that neat, nor, I mean, I guess, however you use your Canadian Club and budget Canadian whiskeys, I guess pour it in Coke or 7-Up or whatever you do, I guess that would probably go good. But there's so much, just get Canadian Club at that point, you know what I'm saying? It's just why go through all the hassle of like getting Harlan Wheatley involved and Buffalo Trace and charging $40, or why spend your $40 when you can just get one for like 15, you know? All right, I'm done ripping on it. Let's just give some positives. I'll find some positives and then we'll end the video because I will keep just trashing this. Positives. 1, it's really not that bad. Like it is not gross. It's not bad. I'm not angry. It's just more so of $40 for that. $40. Nah, it's not it. It ain't there. Sorry. There is so much, like, pick anything on this shelf that's $40 is probably better than this. But the positive to that is, as a celebrity whiskey, $40. I can't name a celebrity whiskey that's $40. They're usually, you know, 50, 60, 70, $200, and most of the time they are freaking terrible. So they're charging you $60 for the worst thing ever, and that's a freaking shame. That's a travesty. Burn it with fire. At least they came out with at 40. I mean, that's still overpriced. I mean, you got to think they're paying Chris Stapleton. He has to have his cut. You know what I'm saying? Harlan Wheatley, bet that dude ain't cheap. They got to make their profits, and where does that come from? Your pocket. So they're gonna bump it up. That's all there is to it. At least they bumped it up just to 40. If this was $60, fire. So it has that going for it. For a celebrity whiskey, you know, $40 is cheap in that realm, but we can't let that, you know, facade blind us. For $40, you can go get any other cheap old Canadian whiskey and it will do whatever this is trying to do, probably just as good, if not better, and cheaper. So yeah, there we go. That about wraps it up. Chris Stapleton's The Traveler. Just, you know, you got to know what you're getting this for. Why are you getting this? If you can't give me an answer to that question, then you should probably not get this. Do you just love Chris Stapleton and you want to support him? Get the bottle. If you are a bourbon collector and you want to try everything for yourself and see what you think, get this bottle. If you just love Harlan Wheatley and you love Buffalo Trace and you have to complete your Buffalo Trace collection, buy this bottle. If you love cheap Canadian whiskey, buy this bottle. Have a YouTube channel to review this bottle. Buy this bottle. If you aren't one of these 5 people, then just go buy something else. There we go. Hope you enjoyed the review of The Traveler, and I'm gonna go travel off a cliff because this. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new here. Check out the Bourbon Wrench Patreon. We got some cool barrel picks coming and some new merchandise coming. Check that out. Just go check all the links in the description. You can buy some Bourbon Wrench merch. You'll find the links to buy some whiskey. You'll find the link to join the Patreon, all that stuff. And until next time, I'm Trev Wilson. I will see you guys in the next video.